wonder, secrets unfold. True crime stories, let the intrigue be told. Grab a seat, get cozy, let's dive into the plot. With Mac J by my side, there's so much to be sought. Mods from the stars, they light up the night. Chillin' with Van, everything feels just right. Welcome to the mystery, the thrill, the thrill we embrace. Solving cases together we'll trace. With Tabby and Maggie, the journey's begun. With laughter and stories, we'll shine like the sun. Spirit Time vibes with Lisa and Mark. Tia and Mel igniting the spark. According to Lean, curiosity flows. A curious rose in a garden of woes. Sweet misery whispers, tales that enthrall. While Matt, Meg, and Jody, we gather them all. Welcome to the mystery, the thrill we embrace. Solving cases together we'll trace. With Tabby and Maggie, the journey's begun. With laughter and stories, we'll shine like the sun. So come along, join the fun tonight. In Aussie true crime, everything feels so right.
Oh, is this?
Hey, beautiful people. Beautiful Jessie, welcome in. Looks like we're doing the show just for you tonight. How you been, my darling? Okay. How are you, my darling? I just gave out 5 memberships as well. So Sassy Nuz, Beautiful Rose Red, Amy, Anita, and Spirit Seeker got them. What is beautiful?
Awesome.
So tonight we're doing a case that Mac J's asked for, so she's going to be helping me a lot.
Yes.
Because this one's not, she's not shut up about it. So we're going back to 1979. Okay, so this is one of Australia's most haunting tragedies, and the Luna Park ghost train of 1979. So on the night of June 9th, a blaze tore through the ghost train ride at Sydney's Luna Park, claiming the lives of 7 people, 6 young boys and 1 father. And it unfolded on the night that shocked the nation. With more than 4 decades later, questions and suspicions still remain around it. Focus, how are you, my darling? Always good to see you.
Hi, Focus.
He's getting ready for his next live too.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yes. But anyway, let's get into this. Mac J, you jump in whenever you want to know.
Okay.
This only goes for 5 seconds, but it takes so long. Sorry, we can hear my vacuum too.
I can't hear it.
Focus, why are you doing that? Hang on, pause. Thank you so much. Let me find something. So Miss Chewy got that, Rose Petal, Outdoorsy Life, Sarah Smile, and Queen Olive. Welcome in, everybody. What can I find? StreamYard's moved everything around again. All right. This one's
Yeah, I
good.
saw that.
They have.
I wish I could hug you right now, but I cannot. So, I am sending you this video. Tomorrow's just another
Okay.
day that I'll still love you. I love you.
Is this
And
still...
you got yourself through yesterday, and I'm so proud.
It's not frozen, is it?
And I know that nothing's promised tomorrow, but this I'll promise you. I'll always wanna be here for you, 'cause I love you. I love you, yeah.
So thank you, Focus, for the 5 memberships. Okay. So I don't know why that's gone over. So on the evening of Saturday, 9th of June, 1979, a disastrous fire occurred at Luna Park, which tragically took the lives of 7 people. So I'm going to go through the timeline and some information, and then I've got some videos as well to play of it. The videos might overlap a little bit because they're 2 different videos, but we'll get there. So the timeline of the tragic night
Yeah.
at 10... Go, yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the Luna Park fire, it might not sound like a crime at first, but once we get into it, the newer information, then you'll start to see why we're covering it. Yeah.
And why it's got back gay.
Yeah.
There is a documentary for this. I think it was Luna Park Exposed. Is that what it was called? On Netflix. So if anyone wants to go onto Netflix, we can't play it, sadly. But there's a lot of... I'm halfway through. So, yeah. But anyway, so timeline of the tragic night. 10:15, the ghost train ride at Sydney's Luna Park is operating as usual, carrying families and children on the popular attraction. At 10:17 to 10:18, witnesses noticed smoke and flames beginning inside the ghost train at first. Some bystanders assumed that it's part of the ride effects. By 10:20, the fire spreads rapidly. What did I do? What was that do? The fire spreads rapidly through the wooden structure. Thick smoke pours out and screams are heard from inside the ride. Ride operators and nearby staff try to act, but evacuation is chaotic. 10:22, the emergency calls are made to the fire brigade. Meanwhile, parents and bystanders rush to help, but the flames are already intense. So at 10:25, the firefighters arrive on the scene. By this time, the entire ghost train structure is engulfed in flames. The park is evacuated as fire crews fight to control the blaze. At 10:35 to 10:40, the fire is brought under control, but the ghost train ride is completely destroyed. The aftermath of the night, 7 people are confirmed passed away inside the ride. That's John Goodson, who was 29. Beautiful Earth, how are you, my darling? Welcome in. So John Goodson, 29. And his 2 sons, Damien, 6, and Craig, 4, as well as Seamus Raleigh, who was 13, Jonathan Billings, who was 13, Richard Carell, who was 13, and Michael Johnson, who was 13. Survivors and witnesses described the lack of clear emergency exits and the ride structure acting like a tinderbox. The official cause was recorded as an electrical fault. From that night forward, theories of arson and cover-ups have clouded the tragedy. Little Miss Sharon, how are you, my darling? Welcome in. Jody, how are you? Okay. So on the night of the 9th of June 1979, 7 lives were tragically lost inside the ghost train. Among them were 6 young boys and 1 father. So it's just the ones I just went through then. So John Goodson, he was a devoted father who perished alongside his 2 sons, who was Damien, loved for his cheeky smile and bright spirit. Craig was only 4. He's the youngest victim of the fire. Seamus was a teenager remembered as kind and full of life. Jonathan, a loyal friend and much-loved son. Richard, energetic and adventurous. And Michael was cherished by his family and friends. The loss devastated families and friends and an entire community. More than 4 decades later, their memory continues to be honoured, and their story remains at the heart of why the tragedy has never been forgotten. Thank you very much, Brian. Everyone, please remember to hit the like. Helps us get us out there. So these are the 4 victims. This was the dad up in the top corner with his 2 sons and the 4 boys underneath. They are old pictures. You got to remember this was 1979. What's 45 years ago? Twiggy, welcome in, my darling. Okay, so theories and suspicions. The official cause of the ghost train fire in 1979 was ruled as an electrical fault. However, from the beginning, doubts and suspicions have surrounded the conclusion. So some of them has been an electrical fault theory. Authorities claim that faulty wiring inside the ghost train sparked the blaze, but critics urged that there was no solid evidence, and some experts later questioned whether this explanation was simply just too convenient. And if you ask me, that's what Australia does. Like a lot of our things, just whatever's convenient. If it was easy, we'll go with that.
Yep.
So the other one was an arson theory. Multiple witnesses reported seeing suspicious individuals near the ghost train that night. Some claim that men had been spotted acting strangely around the attraction before the fire broke out. This led to speculation that the blaze was deliberately lit. And the cover-up suspicion is, over the years, allegations have surfaced about police corruption, organised crime links, and even politician interference, suggesting that the true cause may have been buried to protect the powerful interests. And that's the one I'm going with.
Yes, me too.
To this day, hey?
I don't want to spoil the end of the documentary, but there is more. There's a reason why the second one is basically what the victims' families and the ABC believe to be what actually happened. But if I say more than that, I'm going to spoil.
I've only watched the first episodes. I will watch the rest tomorrow, I promise. As I said, I've got kids on school holidays, so we've been flat out. And with Halloween coming, we've been decorating. So I have been flat out. So to this day, no one has been held accountable, and the cause of the fire remains one of Australia's most unsettling and unsolved mysteries. 13, Michelle. I was born in 1979. So when Mac J brought this to me, it was like, yes, I will do that. Welcome in, Sandra. It was 1979. So this was, when was it, June? I would have been 5 months old. I would have been 5 months old when this happened.
Oh, wow.
Showing my age now, aren't I? So I also had to look into the paranormal, as I would. I think Mac J knew I would. So The paranormal at Luna Park since the fire. Ever since the tragic train fire in 1979, Luna Park has carried an eerie reputation. Beyond the tragedy, many visitors and staff have reported strange and unexplained happenings. The smell of smoke. Some claim that the smell of burning wood and smoke near the ghost train site, even decades after it was demolished. The children's voices, reports of faint laughter and whispers of crying and echoing in areas of the park late at night where no children are present. The shadow figures. Security staff and cleaners have spoken about fleeting shadows, especially near the waterfront and the older rides. I remember going on it before it burnt. Oh my God. No, I should.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's. I've never been to Luna Park. We had one at Melbourne, but we were told not to go there, that the rides were so bad, so I never did. Yeah, you should. I wouldn't mind going and doing a paranormal there now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So where was that?
I believe I believe the ghost train's still there, isn't it?
They've rebuilt it, yeah. It's been rebuilt. So some paranormal enthusiasts believe that the spirits of the 7 victims linger and are tied to the park where their lives were cut short. The smiley face entrance. I've been there twice. Have you? To the Melbourne one or the Sydney one? Little Miss Sharon? Because I know there's one in Melbourne too. I thought that was Miss Sharon. It's not. The smiley face entrance, the iconic Luna Park face itself, has been linked to some unsettling feelings, and some visitors report that the giant face feels alive or watching, especially at night. It's always creeped me out, that face. Yeah, it's the eyes that do it for me. Over time, Over time, Luna Park has become not just an amusement park, but a place layered with ghost stories and urban legends. For many Australians, the haunting of Luna Park is symbolic and a reminder of the lives lost and of the questions that still remain unanswered. Melbourne, but not recently. We were warned about the roller coaster at the Melbourne one, wasn't it? Yeah, that it was really bad. Apparently, a lot of people got off with back injuries and stuff. And I have enough injuries, so I didn't need any more. So this fire that we're talking about was in the Sydney one, but I do know the Melbourne one because that's the one that we were going to go to. But the Sydney one's much bigger than the Melbourne one. It's rough. Have you been on the new one? Now they've rebuilt it, or did you only go on it when before the fire? Every time I hit it, it comes back up. See, I shouldn't press buttons. I have been on the Mad Mouse. Well, you survived. That's a good thing. But yeah, that's what scared me. So let's go back. The scenic, is that what it's called now? No. I think it's still called the Ghost Train. I could be wrong though.
Well, even if it's not called that anymore, I reckon people would still call it the Ghost Train anyway.
On the 9th of...
So I'm just going to turn my camera off so this won't mess up. So here we go. No, you haven't come in late. We've only just started.
Yeah.
June 1979, a call was placed to the emergency services in Sydney, Australia. The ghost train at a popular amusement park.
The scenic railway was closed for maintenance for a couple of weeks ago. Okay. Is that what the ghost train's called now? Is that the new name for the ghost train? So they might not have wanted to call it the ghost train after what happened.
Yeah, that
So
does
this
make
is-
sense.
Yeah, this is the fire that happened. This is like footage of it. Okay.
Originally, the photos were black and white, but they've obviously, restored them with digital color or whatever.
Talking about the Channel 11. Okay.
In the city was on fire. Engines from 2 different fire stations raced to the scene, to be greeted with crowds of fleeing visitors, a towering column of smoke more than 10 stories tall, and a fire that had thoroughly engulfed the ghost train building and was threatening to spread to the rest of the park. It would take hours to get the situation under control, and decades before the strange truth behind this devastating fire was finally uncovered. Luna Park was opened in 1935 on a patch of land near the Sydney Harbour Bridge. This site had been used to fabricate steel during the construction of the bridge, but once this was complete, the local council began exploring options for how the site could be developed. Ultimately, they adopted a plan put forth by the owners of an existing theme park, Luna Park in Glenelg. Their park was struggling to grow in its present location, and they were delighted to be able to move the park to Sydney. Many of the rides from Glenelg were disassembled and transported to the new location, where they were supplemented by new rides and theming. When the park finally opened its doors on the 4th of October 1935, it was an instant hit. Although some people did complain about the noise and the gaudy, colourful design of the park. Despite complaints, Luna Park Sydney persisted through the Second World War. Old rides were removed and new attractions added as the years went on. The ghost train remained a fixture throughout the years. Although cosmetic updates and theming changes were made on a regular basis, the idea of replacing the attraction altogether was never contemplated. It was one of the original rides that had come to the park from Glenelg, and it had remained popular ever since. Rides of this type were sometimes known as pretzel rides, so called because the track twisted and turned extremely tightly within the confines of the ride building. Metal cars, seating 2 riders each, followed this track through a series of darkened rooms filled with spooky animatronics, creepy music, and special effects. At 10:14 p.m. on the 9th of June 1979, black smoke began pouring from the entrance and exit tunnels of the ride. Ride operators knew at once that they were dealing with a deadly situation. There were 35 people on board the ride at the time. Evacuating them through the dark, twisting, turning, and deliberately confusing interior of the ride would be almost impossible. Added to that was the fact that the fire safety systems retrofitted into the antique ride were extremely old, completely insufficient to control a fire of the size they were dealing with now. Operators left the ride running and focused their energies on getting guests out of their cars and away from the ride as soon as they emerged from the exit tunnel. Emergency services were called and converged on the scene, but by the time they arrived, a huge tower of black smoke loomed over Luna Park, and thousands of guests were evacuating along the same narrow road that they needed to use to bring fire appliances to the ghost train. By the time they did get to the train, the fire had begun to spread to the nearby Big Dipper. Firefighters deployed hoses and began to attack the flames. The water supply within the park was insufficient for fighting such a large fire, and so they eventually resorted to drawing water from the harbour. By the time the fire was under control over an hour later, the ghost train had collapsed into a burned and broken pile of wreckage. Investigators began to search through the smoking ruin of the ghost train. The ride's theming had included many life-size figures, and when 7 bodies were eventually found, They were so badly burned that searchers found it difficult.
The one thing I've got to say is when you think of a ghost train, you think of a small kind of thing, but when you look at the pictures, it's quite big. Like, it was quite surprising how big it was, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to say something. So with this, it's in one of the articles, really old articles, but there was a person who came out later and said that, the safety thing, they brought it up earlier to the park before this happened and they didn't check it. Something to that effect, but it's one of the old newspaper articles. So, yeah.
Yeah, Mac J found me a link today that had every article that was done on this. I don't know why my computer's making weird noises.
To distinguish them from burned mannequins. The bodies in
Sorry. Okay, little Miss Sharon, I was going to reply to you, but I just started it again. I'm bad. Miss Sharon's going to cook for us. Oh, she's only cooking for her daughter. I thought she was cooking for all of us. Oh, no, I see biscuit. Yes, please.
included those of a father and his 2 children. John Godson had been visiting Luna Park with his family. The ghost train was their final ride of the day, and one that his wife, Jenny Godson, decided against riding. Instead, she went to get ice cream and agreed to meet them at the exit of the ride in a few minutes. This decision saved her life, but left her as the only surviving member of her family. John Godson and their 2 children, Damien and Craig Godson, died in the fire. The other victims were 4 school children from nearby.
Yep.
Just, can you imagine that woman? She just goes for a little while and comes back and her husband and 2 kids are just gone.
I know.
It just...
And how should be lucky she is that she didn't get on it too, because she probably would have passed with them.
Oh, exactly. But imagine living with that for years and years and not knowing, like...
Especially with all the controversy still around it. Like, it would be hard to get closure when there's still unanswered questions.
There is. I don't want to spoil a documentary, but you'll see why there was another. What the ABC found is why there's second inquiry / inquest coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will cover that once they do the second one too.
By Waverley Boys College.
And
Jonathan Billing.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say we know the last info we got on the recent updates was the Australian equivalent of the FBI released a redacted report on it.
The Australian Federal Police.
I think so, yeah.
They're like our FBI.
Yeah.
Richard Carroll, Michael Johnson, and Seamus Riley, all just 12 or 13 years old at the time. They had been out as a group without any adult supervision for the first time ever, something they'd spent months negotiating with their parents. Only one member of their group survived, James Holman. As the youngest of the group, he had been the last to board and ended up sitting in a car on his own. A ride attendant, on noticing the smoke, had grabbed him and pulled him from the car just moments before it was set to depart. Most of the 7 victims were found outside of the ride cars. they may have left the vehicles and attempted to escape the building on foot, before becoming disoriented in the confusing environment and suffering the effects of smoke inhalation.
Now, I did read in one of the articles that I was reading as well that these are the ones that passed were actually got out of the ghost train, like the actual train part of it. The ones that survived were all the ones that stayed in the train. So they've obviously got out trying to get out of the fire. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's what I've heard as well. So, yeah, but there's like a lot of information is available, but you've got to dig around because it's not all of it was uploaded online because there's still some newspaper articles that the documentary mentioned that I wasn't able to find. But yeah, so I'll keep digging for those. But I read something similar to what you've just said.
Yeah, I will try and see if I can download the documentary that Mac J watched on Netflix and see if I can put it on the Patreon. That way people can watch it if they want to. I'll try and do that tomorrow.
In the aftermath of the fire, the park was closed and an investigation was launched.
Those eyes.
The cause of the blaze was at first believed to be an electrical fault. The park was criticised for having ignored recommendations by safety experts and the council.
I know, Jodie, mine too. That's why I said I thought she was cooking for all of us. But it's only her daughter.
Yes. Oh.
To improve the fire suppression system within the ride, for example, by adding sprinklers. This should have been considered a vital safety feature, given the difficulty in evacuating the ride and the use of flammable materials in some of the theming. By failing to install sprinklers, the park had, the coroner said, breached their duty of care to their patrons. Charges were, however, not brought against the park. In the decades which followed, there were repeated rumours that a man named Abe Saffron, a property developer and notorious member of the Sydney criminal underworld, was linked to the fire. He had been responsible for at least 7 other arsons, and his niece told authorities that he had started the fire as part of a plot to take control of Luna Park's lease, although he had not intended for it to cause death or injury. Abe Saffron denied all involvement. He passed away in 2006, still maintaining that he was not responsible for the ghost train fire. Martin Sharp, a prominent artist and publisher, had spent many years of his life independently assembling an archive of material related to Luna Park and the ghost train fire. He believed that the fire, whether or not it was orchestrated by Abe Saffron, had been deliberate and intended to destroy the park and open the site up for redevelopment. And his collection included many original interviews that he believed might prove this. Although Martin Sharp died in 2013, his collection was subsequently used.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention something here. Okay. Yeah, so this I just wanted to say this guy right here was a legend. The amount of stuff, which we unfortunately can't show the documentary on YouTube, but the amount of stuff this guy had is just crazy. Like the amount of stuff he had on the Luna Park flyer, wow. That's how the ABC got a lot of the documents that you won't find. I don't know if the courts have them, because he's obviously passed now. So yeah.
And it's not as easy in Australia for us to get the documents either. Like, I know for all our friends over in America, you can get documents to cases, especially when they're like older. But yeah, even older cases, we don't get them, or very
Nope.
rarely. One thing I have noticed, though, they're starting to put more court hearings, especially like the high media ones, are getting telecast. What's cool.
Yeah, I'm still shocked about Mushroom Lady getting
We've got
live
more
stream
about her, don't
sentencing.
worry. We'll talk about her at the end.
Really?
An update on her. Beautiful Mary Jane, how are you, my darling?
By the ABC, the national broadcaster of Australia, to put together a documentary on the fire titled Exposed: The Ghost Train Fire. The conclusion of the documentary makers was that Abe Saffron had indeed been responsible for the fire, and that there may have been some collusion between Saffron and the government to hide this fact. Following the release of the documentary, there were increasing demands from the general public for a second investigation. As of late 2024, the possibility of a second inquest was being actively considered by Australian courts. Luna Park remains a beloved part of Sydney to this day. In the years following the fire, its continued existence was at times tenuous.
Welcome in. Let's go. I have an interesting connection to this. My grandfather was sadly involved in the autopsies and had the identity who was... Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's cool.
That is
Its
cool.
life in the years
Huh? Is your grandfather still alive? Only because this was so long ago.
since has been marked by rights disputes, complaints from nearby residents, multiple changes of ownership, and multiple redesigns and redevelopments. At the same time, thousands of Sydney residents have demonstrated their willingness to protest,
Yeah.
fundraise, and work with lawmakers in order to preserve the historic park. The land which was once occupied by the ghost train is now the site of a Big Top arena. A plaque mounted on the wall outside the box office bears the names of those who lost their lives in the fire. Along with the inscription, "They are remembered." Luna Park continues to operate as ever it did, visited by millions each year.
On a winter's night in June.
So this one's another one, but this was done by ABC as well. He's passed now, was a wonderful man, was a dentist, and this bit is so sad. The 6 kids who passed were all boys, roughly around the same age. It was teeth that, oh my God. Yeah, 4 of the boys were only 13. There was the 2 younger kids with the dad, and then the 4 boys that were 13. But that's, yeah. I'm so sorry.
June 1979, a fire swept through the ghost train at Sydney's Luna Park.
People were screaming because the car was on fire.
All I wanted was to go in there and get them out.
They're not what you call recognisable.
Multiple witness accounts the day after the fire pointed to suspicious circumstances, the presence of a group of bikies, and signs of arson. But the police officer in charge disregarded it all.
That would be the worst instance as you could have of perverting the course of justice.
Witnesses told the ABC about feeling bullied and harassed into changing their statements.
Can understand.
If you don't change your statement, something's going to happen.
While others were never called to the coronial.
And that's one thing I've noticed. There's a lot of threats around this case. A lot.
Yeah,
like
even to
that. Go.
other law enforcement. Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's in the second or third episode. But
I will watch him
you know,
tomorrow.
what I found interesting is at the inquest they didn't call these two witnesses in particular who were like, I think in the closest or just before it happened or just after it happened, who saw these supposed bikies. The first guy story matched up with the second witness, and they were young teens at the time. But then the guy, he changed his story so completely that it was basically his second story was all made up because it just changed too much, you know, like
I know a few people
it's
like
really
that.
yeah, it's really bad, but it might come up in this clip, so yeah.
This was a pretty good one. I liked this one.
Yeah, it was.
Inquest.
I'd say you've got something wrong with the New South Wales police here.
The cover-up afterwards was monumental.
Tonight on 7:30, 3 new eyewitnesses come forward with information about what they saw at Luna Park that night.
My name is Kerry Lawson and I was 18 and worked at Luna Park as a cashier during the Luna Park fire.
Have you ever spoken publicly before?
No, I have not. As a cashier, I was out the front of the park in the little boxes and we could see the crowds as they were coming forward. I saw 4 men dressed like bikies.
What did you think when you saw those bikies?
I thought it was unusual. It was not a place a bikie would frequent.
If I asked you, I guess, out of 10, how sure you are that you saw bikies?
10 out of 10.
She's now the 8th person to formally state they saw a suspicious group of bikies at Luna Park that night.
Those bikies had been around different parts of the park during that night.
Did you see them again?
Yes.
What were they doing?
Just sort of killing time. They weren't really interested in riding rides, they were just hanging around.
After this second sighting of the bikies, fire broke out inside the ghost train. What happened next has troubled Kerry Lawson for 42 years. Were you contacted by police?
Never.
Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, so Mary Jane, like, it's in the documentary, but it's also in the really old newspapers, which I'll probably put up on the Facebook page, Aussie True Crime Facebook page for anyone who wants them. So there's at least this biker story. It's come from multiple witnesses as well as the smell of kerosene. So some of them are covered in the documentary, but I believe what we're watching now came out after the documentary from the sounds of it. But those old newspapers also speak of initial reports spotting bikers. So it is not something recent, the biker theory. It does go all the way back to 1979 from the initial witnesses. So it's
another theory.
It's another theory, but what I said earlier, it's suspicious because for some reason after that guy mentioned the smell of kerosene and seeing these bikies, he suddenly, after a meeting with a particular cop, he suddenly changes his story completely. But all of these people are dead set that they saw either a group of shady individuals or bikies, or what they refer to as bikies. But it's not just a one-off either. So, but yes, I'll share. I'll post those on the Facebook group for anyone who wants to read it themselves.
Does anyone else find the big yes? I was just saying it's the eyes for me. I think it's the eyelashes on the eyes. I don't know, but it's the eyes for me that does it. But yes, I do find it very creepy. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot gets blamed on the bikies.
And I was in the next day. I was upset that I wasn't interviewed. I did have things to say. They were not interested in following up.
Do you think the police have questions to answer?
Yes, they do.
Yep.
So this seems to be a common thing, like in the documentary as well. There's a couple where I think one of the social workers who were with other children at the park, they mentioned this too, that like the cops didn't seem interested in like what the kids were saying, like some of the witnesses who were like not kids but teens. Yeah, so it seems to be reoccurring through, they'll call certain witnesses, but a lot of them they didn't even listen to them, like, or anything, like, or even approach them. It's just like,
I think because it was so long ago, like the time was different back in 79 too. It's not what it was now. So back then, and I know because my dad used to always say, these kids should be seen and not heard. And a lot of people thought that way. So even though the kids would have been saying because do you mean kids speak the truth? They would have said what they saw and experienced, but in the courts and that, they didn't count. They do more now, and do you know what I mean? We listen to kids a lot more now, but back 40 years ago, a lot of people went by. And my dad used to always say, kids should be seen and not heard. Probably why I talk so much now. I would think they would want as many statements as possible about what it's seen. I think if it happened today, they would take a lot more of the children's like testimonies and statements. But yeah, it's just thinking back what it was then.
It were also adult statements, like at the time, that they didn't take. So it's just really hard to
I think anything that didn't fit in with their narrative.
Basically that. Yeah. I don't want to spoil the documentary, so just sort of dancing around certain things. But
yeah.
Once you get further into it, you'll see why that they've basically been doing a second or pushing for a second or third. Is it the second or third inquest?
Second one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
My family, I wasn't born yet, but all kinds of adjacent. Sorry. Go. I read aloud when I read. I can't help it.
That's okay. Oh, no, you read. I've forgotten it.
My family, I wasn't born yet, were all kinds of adjacent to the incident. Off the record, everyone knew it was a gang example bikies, but they just do grunt work. Who was paying them is the question. Yeah.
Oh, I think they've nailed down who that was. But again, spoilers.
I know. I was told it too much. And I think that's why I let my grandchildren just do whatever they want. They are the loudest, trust me. But I'll never say those words to them because I don't believe it. I think kids
me
should.
neither.
Especially my grandkids because they're so cute. Like my grandson's just learnt to say thank you. And it's the cutest little thank you. I've got to try and record it. I want it for a soundbite because it's so cute. You just say, thank you, bye. And what's the other one I've taught him? Help me. He'll go and do something and he won't even need help, but he'll just lay there, help me, and want you to come running to come and help him. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Why weren't we called? You could have done it then and there on the spot. Everything was available.
My name is Kathy Dewar, and at the time of the Luna Park fire, I was a student and worked there for a number of years.
Kathy Dewar was 24, working a weekend shift on the night of the fire.
I was doing my shift on the chip bar that night. I do remember seeing a group of bikies. I distinctly remember this group because they walked around the side of the chip bar and past the front. I remember one of them turning around, sort of smirking, and they were laughing. These were young guys who were thin, leather boots, long hair. They just looked kind of a bit out of place at Luna Park. It was very unusual to see a group like that at the park.
Just like Kerry Lawson, Kathy Dewar was never contacted or interviewed by police, nor were they included at the 1979 coronial inquest.
What would you have told the inquest?
I would have told them what I saw that night. I would have told them how I'd seen the same people on a repeated basis, and I would have told them I believed it was deliberately lit.
For me, there were actually two tragedies. There was the fire itself, and the second tragedy for me was the failed investigation. There was so much buried, so many facts distorted and hidden.
4 decades on, both Kerry Lawson and Kathy Dewar are still waiting to be contacted by police, still waiting to have their statements taken.
Are you willing to give a police statement?
I knew you were going to say that's why I paused it.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So some certain communication taken at the time, let's just say it was deliberately removed. I won't say how because I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, so there is stuff here. It's in the documentary, but I don't want to spoil it, but what she's saying is actually correct. So yeah.
Yes.
I am definitely prepared at this point in my life to give
A lot of people aren't. That's the sad thing. A lot of them have. And it's sad that they didn't take their statements, especially for the coroner inquest.
Yeah.
a statement to the police, and I really resent the fact that I was not given the opportunity to do that at the time.
My name's Richard Visser. I was at Luna Park the night of the ghost train fire on the 9th of June 1979.
19-year-old Richard Visser had gone to Luna Park for a night out with his girlfriend.
We were going there for a happy night out, of course, and we went into the ghost train at the beginning of the night.
But later that night, during a second ride of the ghost train, something was amiss.
We decided to have a second go in the ghost train, and as we were in there, I could distinctly smell the kerosene burning, absolutely. I smelled burning kerosene.
Yep.
He's not the only one reporting the smell of kerosene. There's like at least 2 other people who said the same thing as he did, that there's the smell of kerosene.
Yeah, I've read a lot about that.
Yeah.
Richard Visser is now the 3rd person to tell the ABC they smelt kerosene, an accelerant, inside the ghost train late that night. He joins witnesses Greg Chard and Frank Boitano, who also say they smelt kerosene at the origin area of the blaze.
If I asked you, out of 10, how confident are you that you smelt burning kerosene inside the ghost train late that night?
12. There's no doubt about it.
The presence of kerosene, that smell that you're 12 out of 10 confident of. I mean, what did that point to in terms of how that fire started?
Oh, it suggested somebody lit the fire.
But the police never obtained a statement from Richard Visser, and he was never called at the coronial inquest.
When we heard the news report the next morning that it was an electrical fault, that was the interview that we heard. Doug Knight, I think it was.
We're now satisfied that the fire was as a result of an electrical fault within the building.
You look at that. Does that look like he's telling the truth?
Oh, absolutely not. And he'll be busted for something unrelated years after this, which sort of paints a picture as well as who he's connected with. But what I find interesting about this electrical, I'll call it a theory, but we all know it's BS. But yeah, there was a specialist at university, I can't remember which one, but would come out around the 90s in one of the investigations or a report or whatever it was, and flat out come and say that it wasn't possible, this electrical, that it would cause that fire. Yeah.
He does.
I've been reading too much.
No, it's good.
You just believe the police, because the police are law-abiding people.
But as the agency is
every one of him, he looks guilty all over it.
He looks shifty as heck.
Probably had to be, yeah. Well, if they were smelling kerosene, it definitely wasn't an electrical fault. That's...
exposed documentary series revealed, Doug Knight, the officer in charge of the Luna Park fire investigation, was highly corrupt, known as a fixer who accepted bribes to thwart and manipulate investigations on behalf of criminals. To this day, New South Wales Police still has not publicly corrected its electrical fault claim. It still has not accounted for suppressing evidence of arson and suspicious circumstances. And it still has not apologised to the families of the victims for its defective investigation.
Do you think justice has been done here?
No. Not at all. I think it's just all wrong.
Richard Visser, Kerry Lawson and Kathy Dewar are all calling on the New South Wales Government to act, to establish an inquiry into the conduct of New South Wales Police.
These were people who were in positions of authority and trust, and they abused those positions. That, to me, is really the biggest crime of all.
In a statement to 7:30, New South Wales Police said its unsolved homicide team is reviewing the origin of the Luna Park fire and the circumstances.
This one was done a couple of years ago, but like a lot of it was, it's from all the stuff from back in 1979. But this actual documentary was done a couple of years ago. I think it was
I believe around, yeah, about that 2021 or 2022. Yeah.
But because they're looking at the new inquest, that's why it's coming back up again.
Yep.
Surrounding the deaths of those 7 people. Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.
So that one was done by ABC, obviously.
Yep.
There's one more, and this one's... I'll let you see.
Okay.
Looking back on this photo, one of the last to ever be taken of her family, Jenny Godson explained, quote, "It was all meant to be." To her, the unidentified masked figure standing next to her children was an omen, and a sign that there was nothing she could have done to avoid what happened that night. Jenny Godson knew the encounter was strange at the time, but it would not be until hours later that the significance of the demon would become clear. In what came to be known as the Luna Park Ghost Train Fire, she and many others couldn't help but wonder if the mysterious man was responsible.
I just checked on Netflix, so the one on Netflix that Mac J watched it's called Expose the Ghost Train Fire, and it was done in 2021. Yes, I have. I have been watching it so closely. He's got my heart. Little Gus.
Is that the missing 4-year-old?
Yeah.
Who
in
went
South
wandering?
Australia.
Yeah.
I have been posting about it in our Facebook group, but yeah, it's got my heart, that one, at the moment. Such a ridiculous addition to the sad real story. Yeah.
For patrons of Luna Park, a large amusement park in Sydney, Australia, the night of June 9th, 1979 was...
See, look at the eyelashes on those eyes.
Yeah, that's freaky.
It was turning out to be a typical summer evening when inexplicable tragedy struck. Around 10:15 p.m., thick black smoke began billowing out of the tunnel of Luna Park's Ghost Train, a popular indoor coaster that takes riders through scary-themed scenes with creepy sounds and special effects. Jenny Godson's husband and 2 sons were aboard the ride, having used 3 of their final 4 tickets. She, however, recalled being overcome with a, quote, bizarre urge to get ice cream, and had failed to join them with the last ticket. Workers sounded an alarm and scrambled to evacuate.
It is Mary Jane. And when you see it, like, the photos don't do it justice. When you see one in real life, it is as creepy as anything.
People from the train cars as they exited the tunnel. An hour later, the ride had nearly been entirely consumed by the inferno and was believed everyone had escaped. Firefighters examining the structure after the blaze, however, discovered 7 ill-fated riders still inside. It appears the riders had climbed out of the train in an unsuccessful attempt to escape the flames and smoke through the tunnel. Authorities believe they likely would have made it out if they had remained inside the ride like the other luckier passengers. Luna Park was immediately closed following.
A bit of context to the photo. It was normal at the time when you go off the ferry at Circular. There was people dressed as weird characters. Simple as that, no supernatural nonsense.
The fire, and federal officials were brought in for an investigation. Authorities found that mismanagement and insufficient safety procedures likely contributed to the rapid spread of the blaze. Only 18 months prior to the fire, the North Sydney Council and the local fire department recommended that Luna Park management, quote, develop an adequate fire suppression program. The suggested remediation included the installation of a sprinkler system on the wooden ghost train, which the park failed to do. Because of this, investigators ruled that, quote, the actions of Luna Park's management and staff before and during the fire breached their duty of care. Despite the finding, the investigation did not find that Luna Park's behavior constituted criminal negligence, and the amusement park's operators were not held legally responsible for the loss of life. Initial media reports also incorrectly identified faulty electrical wiring as the source of the ignition. Because investigators were unable to identify the actual cause of the Luna Park Ghost Train fire, that fateful day has remained under increased scrutiny. Ever since the blaze, a number of curious incidents at Luna Park have led to allegations of arson, and several suspects have come under a cloud of suspicion. Shortly after the incident, Jenny Godson, whose husband Josh and 2 young sons, Damien and Craig, were lost, developed family photographs taken at the park that day and discovered this frightening image. The photo, taken only hours before the fire, is the last one ever of Damien Godson, and shows him shyly standing next to a terrifying figure wearing a demonic mask made of cow skins with horns atop its skull. According to author Jack Marks's book on the Ghost Train tragedy, Australian Tragic, the man appeared as the leader of a dancing procession of pagan creatures and topless women. He seemed to pick the boy out of the crowd at random, approaching him, placing his hands on the boy's shoulders, and posing for the photo. Marks writes that the mysterious figures, quote, appeared to come from nowhere, and nobody was ever to learn who they were or why they were there on that day. Many have pointed out that the figure bears remarkable resemblance to the Canaanite god Moloch, who is especially known for his lust for child sacrifice. Some wonder whether this is simply an eerie coincidence, or if the unidentified person hiding under the demon mask could have started the fire that consumed the children. For Damien's mother, Jenny, however, the strange image served as an omen that it was all meant to be. Although the masked man garnered the most attention and theories about the fire, a new suspect emerged in 2007. Nearly 30 years after the conclusion of the initial investigation, the niece of infamous Australian crime boss Abe Saffron came forward, claiming that he had started the fire. The niece, Anne Buckingham, alleges that her uncle had coveted the park for decades, and even approached its previous owners years before the fire with a buyout offer that was rebuffed. The fire, she claimed, was planned by Saffron to trigger an eviction of the park's current leaseholders so he could secure it for himself. Quote, "I don't think people were meant to die," explained Buckingham. She believes the fire was merely an extortion attempt that got out of hand. The fire did prompt the owner to terminate the park's existing lease, and it was subsequently operated for 30 years by a company called Harbourside Amusements Limited. Some, including an MP in the Australian government, have claimed Saffron had a financial interest in Harbourside Amusements, though the company called it a, quote, "wild and totally unfounded rumor." Investigators never did find a conclusive link between Saffron and Harbourside.
Yep.
So, I think that it's mentioned in the documentary, but around the time this was just before and during, there was Luna Park was going up for lease renewal, so that the idea is that this dude Saffron, right, was one of the bidders, and so he wanted to get the older bidders out. So that was going on before this, so really close in time, and
The allegations against Saffron still were not out of character. In the 2 years after the Luna Park ghost train fire, the crime boss was linked to 7 other fires at establishments across Australia with which he had financial ties. Authorities were never able to find evidence against him in those cases either, and he was never charged or convicted of a crime. For now, that leaves the Luna Park ghost train fire one of Australia's most mysterious unsolved cases. The masked man is still unidentified, and the investigation will remain dormant unless the police receive new evidence.
That's where we come down to today.
Yep.
So here's just the victims again. Because after all, that's
the reason.
The face. I had to add that in.
The freaky face. Oh man, I could say so much, but I don't want to spoil it. It's really hard.
Just another one of the fire. So I thought this was a good one because it shows just how big the fire was.
Yeah, it was massive.
And these are after the fire, so it shows the destruction that it caused. That's what I mean, it was huge.
It was massive.
Just more. So this is just one of the news articles that was done. Luna Park.
Oop.
I did like that one. You can't really see the eyes as much.
Yeah.
You tell I have a thing about the eyes.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it is freaky. I'll admit it. It freaks me out when I see it. Even before this case, man, I just can't even with that face.
So yeah, so that's all. Is there anything else you want to say about the? I haven't covered. We haven't covered.
Yeah, so like I don't know when that YouTube video was made, but there are definite the documentary mention is probably better, but these links to this guy Saffron do have some pretty strong basis behind them. It's just the documentary puts it better together than I can say without spoiling it. So his
As I said,
involvement.
I will try and get the documentary on our Patreon, but I'll also put a link for the documentary in our Facebook page. So anyone that has Netflix can go to it and look it up as well. And Mac Joe's going to put the paper one.
Yeah, I'll put them up on the Facebook group. But the link to Saffron isn't a new theory. It goes back. I think it was one of the articles. It goes back being mentioned as early as 1982. Mentions of saffron. So, yeah. So it's not a new theory that's come out recently. It just wasn't. It wasn't mainstream. But the biker theory's always been there right from the beginning. So, yeah.
All right. So just a couple of catch-ups that I wanted to do before we do leave. I don't believe I'm saying this name again.
No.
Our beautiful mushroom lady.
Ugh.
So Monday was when her... Actually, I'm going to go back a little bit. We had commotions because of the house. As we know, her lawyers in the court were going to sell the house to cover the payment because that lawyer bill would not be cheap. She had 2 barristers for 7 weeks through the trial and whatever before that. But the judge put a hold on the house so that they can do compensation for the victims. So the lawyers didn't get paid.
Oh, shit.
They then tried to sell her car on Facebook. I don't know if you remember the friend of hers that was at all the court hearings. She tried to put her car up on Facebook and said that it was due to an upgrade in vehicles. As we know, it's not an upgrade in vehicles. It was an upgrade in housing for little Erin. They had it up to $18,000, what I don't think is going to cover their lawyer fees. But anyway, she got so much flack for it, it was only up for like 20 minutes and they took it down.
Whoa.
Oh, she got heaps for it. And then it brought us to Monday, what was when her deadline ran out for her appeal. Of course, now that she's not paid her lawyers, she doesn't have the same lawyers. She's got a new lawyer who is a public defender. Need I say more?
No.
So they've now got to November when we go back. So she is appealing it. But I do know that the prosecution is also not happy and they want to take off the non-parole period. So let's keep our fingers crossed and we'll finally hear more hopefully in November. But yeah, she's not being quiet.
No, definitely not.
And just one more I quickly wanted to touch on, and we have covered this story. Let me find it. And that was Jack. So we did a story on Jack 7 months ago, but tomorrow is actually 1 year anniversary, and he's still missing. I'm going to share his mum's. So his mum had a lot of trouble with the Facebook page and it got taken off her. So she now uses her private page to share her stories on Jack. No, stop sharing. Let me find it because it's gone again. Okay, just let me find this. So Jack went missing from Finks Crossing, 6 kilometres from Murgon. He was 27, 185 centimetres with brown hair. He was wearing a camouflage T-shirt, black shorts and white sneakers. I'm going to share his mum's page because she put a post up today about tomorrow. Yeah. So mostly her Facebook page is now dedicated straight to Jack. And that's Jack there. She's always putting up pictures of him. And this is him with his sister. And this really is just a mum hurting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So this is what she's put up. Hi, friends. Tomorrow marks the dreaded date of 1 year since we've seen our only son, Jackie. Can you believe it? What a huge injustice to him that he's still out there. It was Friday night that Jack went missing, last seen at Finks Crossing. It makes us all think back to that night and the conversations we had with Jack and how we wished we could turn back time. What happened after our last call, as I thought you were going to bed, mate, and if you did walk off, why did you leave your car keys and your much love hat? Why would you leave them with the person that you argued with? Doesn't make sense. I am so close to picking you up, but I trusted that you were fine. I trusted the people you were with, but how wrong was I? You needed help, obviously, and whilst I could always protect you, on this occasion I couldn't, and this will haunt me forever. The duty I have now is to give you respect and find out what happened. If you're not in a close vicinity, then of course we're looking something very different. That is what we need to know. Today I spoke to a lovely lady named Alison who asked me if her friend could help me in any way, as he was a tracking experience. I'm talking with him. He sounds very genuine and wants to help. So I'll give him the rundown and drive him around some spots. The man comes from Brisbane, and I take my hat off to all of those who want to help Jack simply from looking at his poster. We may leave the public search till later, as I'll be fitting out unless you're happy to come down and look around yourselves. I do want to spend time with this man, and he's putting himself out there. Thanks for supporting all of those who have struck this horrific year out with us, and know that we are grateful beyond words. Thank you, Jack's Army. This is a dream we will ask. Someone as good as Jack just vanished while other bonzos grace the earth. Maybe he's just too good for the world. But as I said, this mum is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Busy. But anyone that wants to, do you know what I mean? Her whole page is now just on Jack. So, but yeah, so tomorrow's 1 year. I have been watching it. I have been following Jack's story. I know that the police are doing jack shit, should I say. They've not gave this family any answers. There is a lot of suspects in the case of the people that Jack was with that night before he went missing. As we know, his hat and his shoes were found, but we haven't found anything else. And I do know that his mum has been reaching out and doing private searches because of it. She is reaching out to a lot of politicians and stuff trying to get more help, but that's sadly not working. And, yeah. Did you hear how they found the remains of 3? No. I'll have to look into that one. But, yeah. So tomorrow, think of Jack, think of the family at least, because I know they're going to be feeling it. I will put something together for Jack and put up on our YouTubes as well for tomorrow. we will get all those things on the Facebook page probably tomorrow, and I will try and get the documentary onto the Patreon. But yeah, so you got anything else?
So the only other thing I can think of is that, you know, it's really hard to. There's a lot of information in the documentary, and it's 3 episodes. It's really well put together. If you want to watch it, you can go to Patreon or wherever. But definitely recommend watching it. It's really well. That's why I've been obsessing over it. So yeah, but yeah, it's.
I've still got 2 of the documentary to watch, so do you know what I mean? We could do a part 2 once I watch them, but yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. I'll probably have dug up more by then too. So.
But other than that, Monday's a public holiday, so probably Wednesday we'll be back. We've been quiet because I've got my grandkids on holidays, so entertaining the 3 of them. Well, the baby's easy, but the other 2. Can you do something about Gus? Yeah, I can. I will, my darling. I'll put something together. I have been watching it, but with his age, it's getting at my heart. It's like...
Yeah, the police changed it to recovery now, so...
Yeah, that was today. It got changed back to recovery. But yeah, I definitely will, little Miss Sharon. I'll put something together. I think there was another case as well that I put in the Facebook page. Let me have a look.
I remember seeing it.
Let me So this is little Gus. And the searching of him. Oh, there's one more on that cop. This is another one I'm doing a story on. Jay, do you remember before we moved when I told you about the fire that happened near our house?
Yes, I do remember that. Yes, I do remember that.
This is the fire. So this mother here, a lovely piece of work, decided to leave the house, and within a couple of minutes of her leaving, the house caught on fire. But it actually came out that she had cameras in the house and had left her 2 children in the house. What are these 2 beautiful babies here? She was listening to them scream on the cameras, because you know how they go through to your phone?
Yeah.
She didn't call the the 000 or anything to help. She didn't go home. She called her mum and went and visited her mum.
Ugh.
And sadly, the 2 babies passed away. It is going through court at the moment, so I am going to put something together for that one too. Horrible, horrible story. But yeah, it's up in the Facebook page if you do want to go and read it, but I will put something together for that one too.
Was she one of those influencers on TikTok or?
No. I know which one you're thinking about, but yeah, no, this... Just a piece of work. She was known to police for stealing and theft and things like that. So it says, yeah, there's a big write-up. She was 26. The children were 5 and 1 year old. So I've done a write-up thing on there in there. But it's definitely worth checking the Facebook page, because if we're not live, I'm usually posting up whatever I can in there as well and what we find. So if you're not a member of the Facebook page, come join us. Oh, not leave group, share group. I almost left the group. So that's the Facebook page. But yeah. My cat's saying goodnight again. Oi, you going to be rude? You going to say hello? You're going to see his bum. Friend, I showed Mac J. I have to show you. Because Halloween's coming up now. It's not as big in Australia, I know that. But I love Halloween. And we got a friend up here today. Yeah. I love him. He's my new friend. If people don't want their children there, I know. So many people that want children give them away. I know. Creepy, he's so cute. But my grandson, the 2-year-old, will not come in my office anymore. He's like stands right over by the stairs. And I was sitting there today trying to, and he's like, no. No. I covered it with a blanket and he still wouldn't come in here. So now I want another one. I want another one for the other side. He's so cute. My new friend in the office. No.
Oh,
I hate that. I lost an account, 2 years ago? No, about a year.
yeah, about a year and a half.
I got mine hacked, Little Miss Sharon. I lost 11 years of photos because I used to post everything on Facebook and we still try and get into it. But yeah, 11 years of stuff I lost on mine. It's horrible. But other than that, I think we'll see you Wednesday night. Do you have anything else?
No. Only that I'll post some stuff on the Facebook group.
Yeah. Well, I've put that in, so make sure you join the Facebook group because, yeah, we're always posting stuff in there. But other than that, I will see you all on Wednesday, or I'll see you around the streets. Okay. Night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Aussie true crime on the rise. Investigate the scene, uncover the lies. From Melbourne to Sydney, all the way to Perth. No case too tough, we'll dig into the dirt. We'll crack the code, find the truth, bring justice to the table. No excuse, Australian legends in the game, bringing light to darkness, no shame. Just got a super chat, let's celebrate. Raise a glass for all the cases we've solved in the past. With eyes wide open, we'll never rest. Aussie true crime, we're the best. From cold cases to missing persons, we'll leave no stone unturned. Every virgin detectives in our hearts will never give up. But justice and truth will always hear us. Ooh, thank you so much. Let's celebrate, raise a glass for all the cases we solved in the past. With eyes wide open, we'll never rest. Aussie true crime, we're the best. Thank you so much. Let's celebrate, raise a glass for all the cases we solved in the past. With eyes wide open, we'll never rest. Aussie true crime, we're the best. For all the cases we solved in the past. With eyes wide open, we'll never rest. Aussie true crime, we're the best. Let's celebrate, raise a glass for all the cases we solved in the past. With eyes wide open, we'll never rest. Aussie true crime, we're the best. Thank you so much.